Hey, what's up guys? It's me, Feulfire. Welcome back to another video. Today, I was just wanting to showcase a little something. So this is from my Baldi's Basics mod, Full Deletion. I'm going to be uploading, or I hope to upload, the main shader that it uses onto Game Banana sometime soon. So this is going to be like some of its basic functionality, and whatever I don't talk about here will likely be listed on the page itself. Let's just begin and get started, even though those are the same exact things, but you know what I mean. Alright, so I am in the Unity scene here. This is the Where's Baldo game mode. I feel like this would be a decent example. If we come down here, everything looks pretty darn normal, but all of these environment graphics use the shader. Alright, so first things first, we have this right here. This is the mask texture. Take this door, or this window. This basically cuts out the wall around it. That way, the window doesn't just look at bricks. And that's very useful because you don't need a separate wall texture that has this cutout already into it. You can just take this wall texture right down here, and gosh dang it, I lost the thing, but basically you just have a mask and it cuts it out for you. In this area here, you can see it's a different shape. This second property here is the light mask texture. Now, both this and the previous thing was inspired by the actual newer official Baldi games, but you can make textures a bit glowy. So you see these vending machines over here. If we go up here and change the lighting, because this only really shows up in like different lighting or with like fog, we can change this and you'll see based on the light mask texture, which for example these vending machines have, the color still remains where it would otherwise be changed. So even for these lights up here, and especially this area here, this has a lot of it. The signs, more vending machines, the doors a bit, certain things will still glow, which is actually really helpful for some of the different environments like this one. Now this next one is fairly self-explanatory. It's just the main texture. So here's all the textures in the mod really, or more or less, and we can kind of just set this to be whatever we want, which sometimes has weird little artifacts, but if you want you can even keep those. That's just because of all these texture settings here. This is a very normal feature though. This isn't really anything to write home about. Alright, so this next one is largely the same as previous. You have the second texture. This literally just overlays another texture onto the previous one, which can be used in quite a few ways. You could use it for posters or like wall molding. I use it more for something like this, which is a separate brick variation, but the grooves are still the same. So the grooves on this, they use the second texture. Now let's activate the Chroma RGB gaming setup. We have the colors. This is very self-explanatory. It just kind of tints everything a certain color, but you can also do it for the second texture specifically, like these two are separated, and quite a few of these next properties are as well, so kind of helpful. You also have this here, which is saturation. Again, very self-explanatory, but it can be used for some cool things. Also kind of has some interesting properties because I didn't clamp it on purpose, so this is kind of like weirdly inverted now. You can update the contrast, and these are more or less just fun things to play around with. Maybe you can make something cool. Now that we changed the brick color, this obviously looks pretty weird. Hold on, let me see what I can do here. Yeah, that totally doesn't look off, especially compared to this. Alright, so next on our list we have alpha, a transparency multiplier. It changes a little bit depending on the surface type up here. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I believe these windows use the alpha. Actually, there's a bit of a color effect here too. The color's multiplied through the windows. This is what it would look like, but since it's multiplied, kind of looks fancy. Next up we have the light mask texture multiplier. Quite a mouthful. I haven't used this in Full Deletion yet, so it's partially a work in progress, but what it should do, if I was a decent enough shader grapher, is it should multiply the previous light mask textures and basically just enhance or reduce their strength. So that would be like these signs and different things like that again. Alright, we are in the Escape Brick game mode. Here we have the Void Cubemap and Void Cubemap multiplier. This currently has a bit of an issue where I think the actual texture here is a bit blurry. You could probably get around that though, but this kind of makes a weird effect. I'll go into play mode. Alright, so it might be a little bit hard to see, but oh hi Baldo. If you go to approach these walls, whoa, you can see that it more or less looks infinite, with the exception of the texture being a little visible because I didn't want it to be impossible to navigate. Obviously the room itself isn't actually infinite, and we can actually make this effect worse. Wait, no, that made it better. Now you can clearly see the edge of the room. Update that. Now you can't see the edges at all. Haha. So if you wanted to do something like this, which is like a fake skybox within a room, you can do that. Alright, we're getting on to the last couple of things now. Here we have the hamert texture and hamert texture multiplier. You don't need to use hamert for this, but that's what the purpose is in my mod. Basically, creepy hamert. Actually kind of disturbing past a point, and this is mostly used in hammer difficulty, which I will get footage of now, the munch before the apocalypse. It has begun. As you could see, the walls are slowly becoming hammered, which is probably not good. This is probably some sort of infection, and you should probably run. I will now wait till this gets worse. Alright, I would now say it's gotten sufficiently terrible. This is a script, by the way, making the hammer textures gradually appear. They don't do that naturally, but now, I think you can see what the hammer texture does. Let's just look around. I'm in debug mode, which is why I can do crazy stuff. If I'm not mistaken, that should be all for the functionality over here, and almost all for the shader. The final thing is I just want to showcase some of this up here for the technical people who might want to see the graphs themselves. I am not sure how much you'll be able to see, given this zoom. This is basically the chain of how everything goes through. This is for textures, color, saturation, those type of things, I believe. The Void Cubemap, hammer texture, the mask texture, the light mask texture, which this one's actually quite a lot. And finally, back to here for the final alpha thingy, and there we go. I don't know how optimized this is, but I tried my best. I think that just about concludes this video. Feel free to check out the shader on Game Banana when it's released. Feel free to use it in your own Baldi's Basics mods, just obviously with credit. Feel free to check out the mod itself, Full Deletion, on Game Banana and itch.io. Finally, thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you guys later. Peace.